Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to my channel. Obsidian Flames is out next week, and I couldn't be more excited to talk to you about what cards you should start to be picking up from the set. Let's look at the competitive cards, the fun rogue archetypes, which I generally think could do well at the league challenges and cups, and even just your regular locals. The set isn't as hugely competitive as what Paldean Evolved is, but it introduces some really good consistency cards that can really boost up your deck playing skills. So if we look at the competitive stuff, not as many cards as I would say in Paldean Evolved, maybe a tiny bit more than what happened in Scarlet and Violet, or just a little bit less, but nevertheless, let's dive into it. Total EX is a really good card, I would say, and definitely pick up a couple of those. Kind of having its ability to slot down any of your opponent's attacks for which have any effects on it was really good. Think of it as Sableye, this is now your counter. Charizard EX, Pokemon loves to print them, and they might have printed the best one ever. With an amazing setup ability, having a really good weakness to kind of deal with it by attacking anything for dark, and a 2 energy attack, which increases every time your opponent takes a knockout. I generally think is really, really competitive. And looking at the results from looking ahead at the beginning of the week, I think it's really good and has a good sort of tier 2 archetype, which could potentially be staying around there. So picking up a 4-2-3 line is definitely really, really powerful. Pidgeot EX is an amazing reprint card we've seen a return of. That quick search ability, search for any card you might potentially need, only limited one per turn, but that's not really too bad. So getting a 2-2 line of that is really powerful. Slot it into anything that requires a rare candy is really good. Think of it like Excalibur, Charizard, maybe even God of War. Pidgeot EX is there and really helpful with your consistency. Palafin, I generally think could be good. I think it might be a borderline tier 2 or just fitting into any other archetype as well, like Sheehan Power or Palkia, because that's a really good Justice Kick, which is 210 damage, but could only do that if it moves from the bench to the active spot this turn. And not only that, but its pre-evolution has a really good attack, which pretty much makes sure you put it down to the bench and then evolve into it. It's Ascension, but in reverse. So you still have a way to kind of search out for your Palafin and put it onto the bench as well. I think these are really powerful as well. And more importantly, let's not forget the return of Cleffa, the amazing ability which you get draw until you have 7 cards in hand. This doesn't need shuffle till you draw. It doesn't have really interesting, unique abilities. What we're used to, like where they fall asleep or they can't be attached. But I generally think this Cleffa is really good. Having free retreat and a free attack, it's really good, definitely in these stall archetypes, with a setup as well. Maybe not right away, but definitely an archetype we should definitely be picking up. Item card, I think Letter of Encouragement is really powerful. Only be used if your opponent's active Pokemon is your active Pokemon has been knocked out, and you get to check for 3 basic energies to attach them and put them into your hand. Think of like Sheehan Power, I think it's really powerful in that sort of archetype, but I don't know if we'll see any play. We definitely should pick up those as well. Seeing thing like Greeter, if you play it, you can't attack a turn, but you get to search deck for 2 basic energies and attach them to one of your Pokemon. Really powerful in the likes of Ting-Lu, and definitely potentially in the future as well if you go second. They have a really powerful stadium card. I always think are really powerful. Town Store and Pokemon League Headquarters. Town Store is really powerful to search your deck for any tool card you might want to have. It's really, really strong as well. I think this will definitely see a way. Have we seen Forest Steel Stone increase in popularity? Town Store guarantees a way to kind of search out for that card. And Pokemon League Headquarters, another like Lost Box style counter, or just any basic Pokemon attacking, you have to use 1 extra energy attachment. So those are generally, I think, the most competitive ones. The ones that I'll be picking up to. I always find with trainer cards, you should always get at least 4 of, because you never know if you ever need a playset for it. Similar thing with Cleffa, it's going to be quite cheap, so definitely pick up 4 of those. But I hope this has been helpful for some of the competitive ones. So if we look at the hot take buys here, we can see here there are some fun, unique ones, and there aren't as many cards as people might thought. I generally think the Tyranitar EX is definitely one of those hot takes or option. The 4 Rampage doing 250 damage if any of your Pokemon have a bench had damage counter on it is really powerful. I think it's really good, but I think though the energy attachment, the energy requirement, it's just not as strong as it should kind of like be. Getting a 4th 3 line of that is really powerful. I think this new Larvitar is really good. 70 HP, 1 retreat cost. Think of it with the Beach Court in their play, you have 3 retreats. So definitely this Larvitar is the best one. Now I thought about the Gamora EX, and I generally think it's not too bad. That Dust Field as well. Having a bench Pokemon can't have more than 3 bench Pokemon is really powerful, and the poison attack is really strong. Generally think this is one of these rogue archetypes. It's that Palkia list and the Coridon list, which I showcased a couple days ago. Is that the way to play it? But definitely one you should definitely get into your binder. Reverend EX, I generally think is really powerful. That tune-up ability, having 4 tool cards attached to it, I generally think is really good, and it's going to be better in when 151 comes out, when you have the damage reduction sort of cards in there, it's pretty much making sure it has a huge amount of HP. It's attack, making sure that it can't get any sort of damage, and pretty much there's going to be no damage to it. I generally think it's going to be really, really strong. Sizzle, I generally think, is your replacement to Flapple in the Zoro box decks. We have a Luminous Energy, you have 50 more HP, and you do 10 more damage. So generally, Sizzle is definitely the right way to play it. King Gambit, as I mentioned a little bit before, this can really work in those Bishop decks as well, and kind of like making sure the active Pokemon is pretty much knocked over. It's got 4 more price damage counters on there, and that could be easily done with Gapejaw, Bog, and Rain Alakazam moving around. Generally think it could be a good one to pick up at least 4 of them. Togekiss. Now, Togekiss is my favorite Pokemon, so I'm always going to put in this as a hot take thing. I've already got multiple pre-release promos coming, the regular arts as well, because I love collecting Togekiss because it's my favorite Pokemon of all time. But generally, it could be decent in like a control archetype. Drawing to have 8 cards at the end of your turn isn't exactly too bad, and you don't need to attack. Again, you have to try and get it out. It does have free retreat. It has an okay attack. But I generally think it could be okay overall. Lunatone definitely get 2 of these in New Moon sort of attacking option. This is really good in these control archetypes, making sure that you aren't preventing all effects from the stadium cards there are in play. So not being affected by Path to Peak, not being affected by any of the Team League headquarters is pretty powerful as well. So definitely pick up a few of those as well. Poppy, I really love a supporter card. Moving 2 of your energy cards doesn't specify if it's special or not, so that's really powerful as well to one of another Pokemon. This can make sure that you can potentially power up a Pokemon like with Arceus or Dark Style decks, and then use Poppy to move them onto a basic Pokemon, which isn't in fact a V or even an EX. So I really like that style of effect. That Poppy really had options to it. And Vengeance Punch, I love, especially in control decks, and obviously that King Gambit one, making sure if the opponent gets KO'd by damage from an attack, you put 4 damage counters on it. So it works really well with King Gambit, and I generally think is really powerful. The other sort of EX I want to talk about are the Miraidon and Clefable. Clefable EX definitely could see some play, especially in some like Clefairy style decks here when we get the new Clefable from the 151 set. Takes extra prize cards, but this Clefable pretty much means that all your Pokemon with Psychic Energy have no retreat, and doing 170 damage for 3 energies isn't that too bad. And you get to move any amount of Psychic Energies from your Pokemon to another one in any way you like. I like the rearrangement. I like the free retreat option. So maybe this has got some play. And obviously the Miraidon EX has a free retreat option and could be an okay attack in Miraidon, which we have seen some play. So I hope this has kind of been a little bit insightful to know exactly what cards have been good. What exactly will you be buying here? Will you be getting the really like fun, like illustrated rare Clefable, Clefairy, and the Charizard and Pidgeot? Or you just get the bog standard simple arts, which I normally go for. Obviously, it's not as competitive as we kind of would have hoped for, but I do think there are some good synergies which can help with deck consistencies. So I generally think this set isn't going to be as bad as we once thought about. And I do think it's not as bad as like Rebel Clash with their voltage, but it will actually impact the meta slowly. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below, what cards will you be picking up from the set? For me, it's so many Togekisses, so I'm really trying to work on a deck like that. As soon as I get one cracked, I will send it across to you guys and post a video about it. I will see you guys in a few days for another video. Bye for now.